of Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, Aaliyah Boston. But because of the lineup variability and the versatility that they're going to have, they could go any which direction that they want to from here.
I think that's the key part. Like, I've loved these moves based on, especially if you think about what the Fever found in the back half of last season, and you're adding veterans to kind of help take them to the next level and be like, hey, we know how to win, what it takes to win in this league. I mean, heck, I think Natasha Howard said that in the press conference. She was like, I'm just trying to figure out how to tell them how to practice, how to win, how to lead, how to get to a championship. And I'm sure if you look at the roster and you see DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Katie Lou Samuelson, it's like, okay, well, how's this all going to work? Lineup versatility. This is right up Coach White's alley as far as being able to play with two bigs, being able to go small. And if you look at the big picture and the success the Fever found building on this, like we saw what Caitlin Clark did in the second half last season. We saw what Kelsey Mitchell did in the second half last season. We saw Lexi Hull grow. Well, now that spot is DeWanna Bonner. That's interesting. Like we saw the different things they can do. So having two bigs who can kind of screen, roll, punish teams in different ways, guards who can consistently draw attention, and now you add spacing and consistent spacing throughout the game. Like you can play Cunningham at the 4, you play Kalu at the 4, you play DeWanna at the 4, and you can kind of just keep this identity throughout. So that's why I'm really excited to see how they build on that.
I also love Natasha Howard in her press conference basically just saying, yeah, I'm still working on my game. I'm still improving my game. She was asked about being most improved player and then saying that she wants to be a Hall of Famer in the future. And I think, hey, a fourth ring really adds to that resume. But I love also what you said about consistent spacing, because that to me is what is key. They can now play the ideal way that they wanted to play last season, basically, no matter who they trot out there, right? Like having the logjam at the wing position of Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham and Katie Lou, who I think is going to have a bounce back season, really will allow them to, regardless of, let's say Sophie or Lexi find themselves in foul trouble, which they are wont to do. They're both aggressive defenders. They both like to, as Lexi has said before, get their hands on balls, and that comes with a risk. And now they can kind of protect each other, right? But I love that they can play so many different styles now. Like I was just thinking about some of the lineups that they can throw out there, right? Like let's say you wanted to go super small, you could even throw DeWanna Bonner at the 5, and then just go like Lexi, Sophie 4-3, Kelsey at the 2, and Caitlin at the 1, and just go super duper small, like spread, pick and roll.
This is like everything I've been saying with the Indiana Fever and their roster. I mean, they could do so many different things. They could run so many different lineups. This video was sent to my email, so I am going to fully react to it. But this is something that I've talked about. I mean, the lineup situation with DeWanna, they could run a small lineup. Katie Lou Samuelson, I've been pumping her up since the rival started. This is everything we've talked about. You know what I'm saying? So I expect this team to have multiple rotations, kind of like the Orlando Magic. They can run so many different rotations on you and be very effective. Stephanie White's got, she's in a candy land right now, candy store, because she has so many different options, so many different weapons and tools. So we are gonna finish the reaction because I did promise someone on my email. But yeah, this right here is a great commentary. Like we're thinking exactly the same. This looks like it could be my uncle of some like lost uncle that I've never met. But they're absolutely right. Everything they're stating right here is absolutely right with lineups. That's why the Indiana Fever are going to be so dangerous.
And just run the ball, right? You could also potentially, you could even go super big. I think that's like that starting lineup that they have is like basically super big. You have DeWanna Bonner at the 3, Natasha Howard at the 4. That's the assumed starting lineup. I shouldn't say it's the starting lineup. That's just kind of the starting lineup I have in my head, but I feel like that could, that could change. But let's say, you're playing like, let's say a team like the New York Liberty that have just all the size in the world at every position. And they could take advantage of a player like Kelsey Mitchell, the way that they did against the Aces and their guards. Now you can throw Sophie at the 2, you can throw Lexi at the 2 for a bit there as well, and to try to ameliorate those types of things. And I also love that this team just really seems to be playing towards Steph White's strengths as well, in terms of defensive acumen, and also in-game adjustments, right? Because sometimes you can throw a team like this together and you're nervous about it because you're like, okay, we have all of the pieces, but I don't know exactly how they're going to fit together. But with Steph White, you just don't worry about it because this is somebody who is an expert in-game adjustments and has, trotted out multiple different lineups based on matchups, in the playoffs throughout the regular season, integrating Marina Mabrey into the roster last season as well. This is something that she really excels at. So I do think that she's going to be able to maximize all of the variability that they have.
Stephanie White is definitely going to maximize the potential of this roster. I tell you that. I mean, like I said, there is not going to be a favoritism thing. We already know the point guard is Caitlin Clark. That's our main. We're building around her. What fits Caitlin Clark's play style? Now, defensively, we could, if we want to run a defensive set, okay, I know my defensive hogs. Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner could guard anywhere on the 5. You could put DeWanna at the 5 or 4, Natasha at the 4. I mean, at the 5, you bring Cunningham at the 3, Lexi Hall at the 2. You know what I mean? There's times where you could run Kelsey Mitchell at the point. There, you know what I mean? So, defensively, this team is going to be very good in my opinion. There's going to be different sets, different schemes. There's going to be different pick and pops for now. Both. Look, you got to understand, they have 3 pick and pop players now. Natasha Howard, AB, and DeWanna Bonner. You know how difficult it is going to be to guard that? And then you got wing shooters, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hall, Cunningham, DeWanna Bonner, Katie Lou, Demir Dantas, if she's on the roster still. This is going to be a versatile. And don't forget, Caitlin Clark can pull that motherfucker on the half court on your ass. Anywhere. Don't forget. I mean, I know we're talking about the whole, but y'all remember the big picture is Caitlin Clark. She'll go drop 30 on you if needed. I believe 40. If needed. You're getting Caitlin Clark 2.0. See, this is why I don't talk much. When I do these videos, I talk about the pieces around her. Because when I talk about Caitlin Clark, the energy starts to come out. You know what I'm saying? I just finished my 4 shots of espresso. The energy, I can feel it in my chest already. So let's start talking about the pieces around her again. So this roster, even if someone wants to take a break, hey, okay, Natasha Howard, cool. You played 5 games straight. You need a little break. Okay, we'll slide up DeWanna Bonner or Katie Lou at the 4. Go ahead, Sophie. Go ahead, Lexi. Start at the 3. Go do your thing. Oh, Kelsey Mitchell. Oh, you need okay. Lexi, slide at the 2. Slide at the 2. AB, this lineup we're playing, this new team we're playing right here, they got a fast lineup. They're not really running a traditional big. Okay, Natasha Howard, slide to the 5. DB, go to the 4. Katie Lou, go to the 3. Or Cunningham, go to the 3. Like, I'm excited. There's just so many different options for Stephanie White. And like I said, she's got to be so geeked about this, man. Got to be.
I agree. And actually, going back to your point about the jumbo lineup, it made me think the Liberty figured something out where it's like, well, let's put wings and size around Sabrina with our double bigs, and we can just figure it out. The Fever, while it's not the same Liberty lineup, can kind of do something like that. So they just wanted to put double big. Let's go Boston. Let's go Natasha Howard. Let's go Sophie and DeWanna. And let's just fly around a little bit. And Caitlin, you just do your thing in transition. It's just Natasha Howard wants to catch all those passes. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm intrigued. We're like, okay, in the playoffs, can you scale up? Can you scale down? Can you kind of figure out some of these matchups? I think that'll be key. But I think with what Stephanie White does and her understanding, I think offensively, what she put in Connecticut to get them to kind of move the ball, they didn't necessarily have all the pieces, but they had the idea, the template. Now you have someone who can consistently get 2 on the ball, but you have more pieces that understand how to cut, how to move, when to space, when to shoot, how to drive a closeout if the defense is in rotation. I think it's a really good mix.
Yeah, I agree with you. It does feel like it's also similarly designed to protect Caitlin and Kelsey as much as possible as well. Like just throwing a DeWanna Bonner, especially, just given the fact that she can guard 1 to 5, into that lineup just kind of, it gives them the balance that they need without taking away anything. In fact, adding something on offense. And I'm wondering, so just to flash back a little bit, because I started thinking about the expansion draft, because at first I think everybody was pretty shocked that Temi Fegbenle was available and taken by the Golden State Valkyries. Now, in hindsight, the Fever front office has said they had a plan and, they managed to execute it. Number one was getting Kelsey Mitchell. Number two was bringing Natasha Howard back. Natasha Howard, obviously, it would be a little bit redundant with Temi Fegbenle and what she does. Now, obviously, you throw DeWanna Bonner into that mix and, you're just flying at that point. But I was thinking about the fact that they also waived Grace Berger, because I think at the time everybody was thinking Grace Berger was probably who they protected. And I'm wondering if they actually protected Dantas in anticipation of having this combination of different players in the front court, because you have Natasha Howard as your Temi replacement, as somebody who can protect the rim and run and be able to, kind of play that fast-paced tempo that Caitlin wants to play. Then you have Aaliyah Boston, of course, who is, just part of your core, is going to be one of your best half-court players, and is also, I think, just based on what we've seen in Unrivaled, going to be better in transition this year too, but is sort of that, you're the plant, the flag that you plant in the post. Right. And then you have DeWanna Bonner, who can basically do it all. She can operate in the mid-range 3-point, be a creator, be that outlet that you need if Caitlin and Kelsey are getting trapped, right? But then you have Dantas, who you can play 5 out with her at the 5. And that's an element that I wonder if they were like, you know what, if this is what it's going to look like, that's an element that we want to keep.
I agree with that, because that again, it ties into the versatility. So if you can go 5 out with Dantas, willing to shoot, that gives you a different element. I think we saw Caitlin Clark grow with different partners in pick and roll and understanding what would be open and what would not. And so again, kind of ties back in, you can go Aaliyah at the 5, you can go Natasha at the 5, you can go Dantas at the 5, and just kind of mix and match based on what you need. And I think that's where it's going to be really fun to see how much pressure they put on teams and see how defenses try and match up with what they do, because Aaliyah Boston got a lot better as far as making decisions on the short roll throughout the season. Natasha Howard, not afraid to pick and pop, can roll too, will finish, can make good decisions. So now you just have a mix of talent that should enhance and keep the Fever going in the right direction.
100%. And like I said, I don't know how much more we're going to react to this video, but we're almost coming to an end here. So look, the rotations, and look, like I said, rotations are going to be crazy this year, and the Fever are going to be hard to stop. They are. There's no doubt about it. They stay healthy, they're going to go deep in the playoffs. They're going for a championship. And Caitlin Clark will average 13 assists this year. Easy assists. You remember last year when they weren't ready for her passes or none of that, and all those turnovers decreased. Turnovers, ratio, average, up, increase. Watch. You remember all that? That was Caitlin Clark and the girls not being used to it. Everybody here, they're used to it. They understand, and they're going to have a full training camp together. Yeah, Caitlin Clark's about to dominate, and the rest of her team is on board. And they're here to elevate each other. So I'm excited for what's to come. And whoever, I forgot your name in the email, I'll shout you out in the next video. But I appreciate you sending me this video. These two have great takes right here. This is from the Ringer NBA. They usually don't speak about the WNBA, so I think this is why they were so highly on sending me the video so I can get a reaction out. So shout out to the Ringer for sure. Yeah. And that's what I got, man. That's what I got. Just expect a great Indiana Fever basketball team going into 2025, fully locked in. Just expect rotations. You guys stop calling out starting lineups right now, because there's going to be different looks for Stephanie White. There's not going to be a starting lineup for the first 10 games. Stephanie White's going to go in there and figure out what's going on. Who could play with who? Who's gelling with what? Okay, this person is this who I need off the bench. I need you to be a factor when this person comes out the bench. Okay, your pick and roll game could be better with her. Okay, I definitely need Caitlin Clark to run with DeWanna Bonner, because their pick and roll game is unstoppable. DeWanna Bonner, you know what I mean? Like, you got to understand, okay, Caitlin, okay, this, that, and the third. So Stephanie White has a lot of work to do. as a head coach. It's not easy, but it's going to be well worth it. That's all I got, man. I'm going to catch you guys on the next video. I appreciate you guys for watching. I got to get to some other stuff. But yeah, man, I got more content on the way. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I'm out.